Yes, you might see a familiar face out there, but she's known to kind of like walk in with a softball uniform or one of her other events and accept awards or even sing the national anthem. I'm happy to recognize Caroline Nettleton again. I have a nice write-up from Ms. Ricard. Senior Caroline Nettleton was accepted into the Connecticut All-State Music Festival as soprano in the mixed choir for the second year. This is an audition festival sponsored by the Connecticut Music Association that students get the opportunity to audition for if they make Eastern Regionals, which was in January. From March 30th through April 1st, she spent 3 days at the festival working with a well-accomplished conductor to learn music with students from all around Connecticut. I know the board had interested to put you on the spot, but if you would not mind coming up and turning on that mic and talking a little bit about the experience, we'd love to hear about it. You don't have to sing it. Yeah, you don't have to sing it. Yeah, just push it up. And I'm sure you held your own and represented Lebanon in a great way. What are your plans for next year? Congratulations. I know you have a couple of these already, but if you wouldn't mind
some communication. We do have a letter of resignation.
So Lauren Brown, who is the school psychologist at the elementary school, will not be returning in that capacity in the fall of 2023. Her family has gone through a transition, which allows her some flexibility to be at home with her son and daughter. I just want to thank her for all she's done for the elementary school and wish her the best, making special memories with her.
I know it doesn't quite feel like it yet, but everything's like wrapping up in all the schools, so we have some fun things to talk about. At the elementary school, they had a family science night on April 27th. The third grade took a field trip to the town green April 28th. Children's Book Week was May 1st to 4th, and they had a concert on May 4th along with Star Wars Day, which is very cool. I think we should bring Star Wars Day to all the schools. So, And upcoming, they have a kindergarten orientation, and the third graders are taking a trip to Sturbridge Village. At the middle school, the spring play was put on last weekend. Spring basketball, baseball, and track are going well. They're a little over halfway done through their season. There's a Project O field trip May 15th and a bike and hike field trip May 31st. They have a band and chorus concert on May 19th. 8th grade celebration on June 2nd, and different grades field trips are coming up all different days in early June. And the 7th and 8th graders have their dressy dance this Friday. Here at Lyman, we had a band concert over the past month. We have our AP testing is finishing up this week. We had prom on Friday, along with Spirit Week last week. And there's a talent show coming up May 12th, along with the chorus concert is upcoming. Track, girls tennis, boys tennis, and softball, and baseball have all been going really well. Girls tennis has a home match against Fitch tomorrow, and boys tennis has an away match. And graduation is in June. That's all I have for you guys. So quite a bit, yeah.
Any questions for us? Good luck wrapping up the vlog. We'll see you again in June.
Yeah.
But, yeah, good luck wrapping up the rest of the year.
Yeah. It's all coming to an end, which I love this summer. It was like such an amazing thing. I came here and it was like light out. I was like, what? It was crazy. So it was really nice seeing you guys, and I hope you have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our reports of committees. Brian, would you like to get started?
So there were two finance subcommittee meetings, April 18th, and then most recently the April 18th, nothing was changed on the long-term plan. We went over the emergency expenditures. Finished up there. 22-23 budget was on track. At that time, we hadn't heard from the grant writer at Mutual Infant. We have since not only heard, but the grant went in, so that's good. No update on the audits and FY24 budget, I think all pretty well aware of. And then the May 4th Finance Subcommittee meeting, we reviewed a copy of printer bids, which will be coming up later on for board approval.
Great. Any questions for Brian? Thank you. Nicole, we'll start with facilities.
Okay, so facilities met 3 times, so I'm gonna kind of consolidate what was talked about 3 times. So going back to April 18th, we began with the scoreboard at LMS, which I am happy to report is installed and working wonderfully. We confirmed that the is also been updated at LMS, and it is estimated to be about approximately $30,000 if we were to sand the floor, application on the floor, and that would totally a remodel, because that is the most public part of LMS. The next on the agenda were, we had a couple of walkthroughs for various bids, and then I'm just going to skip down to the bids that we did meet last week for the landscaping bid. We're going to suggest that Powers Outdoor Services continue to be awarded the bid for landscaping. We are also going to award, or going to suggest to award Core Services both the boilers and the HVAC bids, since they've been a very low number and they're very familiar with our facilities. Next on the agenda at LES, the solar panels were removed and the leak was fixed on the roof. Then it would be a meeting, I guess there was a meeting with Brandon Hanford for the next steps are to fix the gym floor. We reviewed one of the policies about engineering, and it was confirmed that we do not need to use as a town. We will use our own engineering company for our projects. Okay, I talked about all of that. Tennis courts, I believe that they will be repaired after the season is over. And we wanted the company to come out to give us an estimate, what would it cost to have a full redo, so we're waiting for that as well. And then finally, I believe, which I'm going to confirm with Kevin, that the Sullivan Company came out April 25th to the 27th to complete the pictures.
The paving.
Paving,
Yes.
right. And so that is all done, correct?
I just wanted to update you on the reach out to actually give a quote. We were referencing that number based on what we had done at the high school. The companies have not replied with a quote yet. The meeting with Brandon had been scheduled just based on his availability, but we're looking to do that before the 16th. And tennis courts, in terms of repair, will need further repair. They were already touched up to make it so that we can play the season at home, but they have to come back and have it.
Could you give us a report for enrollment?
Yes, so enrollment met this evening. The first item on the agenda was our ASTE enrollment, which it was reported that 72 out-of-district students, you're gonna have to help me out on this one, Andy, 72 out-of-district for just the ASTE program, correct?
Yep.
45 out-of-district, just not the ASTE program. That's everything. Perfect, okay. And then we will be doing a presentation, or Jay and Sam will be doing a presentation in Canterbury in September, and a presentation in October for Franklin. Next on the agenda was preschool, full-day preschool. We had the results of the survey. We had 84 responses, and it was almost 80% of the responses had a desire to have full-day preschool here. So our next steps are going to be talking to EastCon consultant over the summer to see what we have to do in terms of staffing, materials, new bathroom, things like that. And then our anticipated start date would be the fall of 2024. And then finally, we had a brief discussion about the alternative high school. Anything else?
Any questions on enrollment? Okay, Maureen, policy.
Policy, obviously we met and we noticed that lots of things to address. We're trying to clean up old, get rid of them, and I'm just trying to get done with everything before November. So we have things.
Good job, checking
And we
things.
have, we'll be acting on some of these policies, and we have a meeting coming up on the 16th, I believe. Yes.
Any questions for policy? Governance met, one thing that we'd like to know about, we have to start planning the retreat, and I want to throw out a couple dates at you if you don't mind, just kind of down, and I'll send them in an email, also, so you can just let me know what works, but try to be flexible, possible. Last year we did a 4:30 to 6:30-ish session, together, talking about goals and subcommittee goals, board event goals. So we think that that work would be great in aligning those goals to Andy's goals, which then, translate to building goals and whatnot. So thinking about July 13th, we do not have a board meeting in July, but we scheduled a retreat. July 13th, another option would be August 3rd. So keep an eye out for some of those dates. Okay, questions on that?
That'd be a dinner meeting?
Yes. Okay, what's this, negotiations? No. John, Superintendent.
Superintendent Eval Committee met twice. Thank you all for your timely and thoughtful submissions. We will be discussing the superintendent evaluation later on, hopefully.
Any questions? Oh, Mr. Attorney. Okay. So we met on April 26th to
the link, because sometimes it's hard to get to the library or to think about getting to the library, but if you keep that right next to your computer, you're more apt to look it up and browse the new text. Thank you.
Dawn, safety and security.
We met this evening in executive session.
Thank you. Okay, any questions? All right, we'll move on to our administrative reports. Are there any administrators who'd like to add to their reports?
And while this course is coming up, Rita is at a graduation for her 193 program. So she is celebrating with her family.
Hi, good evening. So first off, happy Appreciation Week to our teachers, and also we are appreciating our school nurse tomorrow too, so some highlights this month for sure. So we did kick off Smarter Balance today, and one classroom yesterday too. And we did have a character from iReady, Glory. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Glory, but he is this orange creature that came to visit our students. And Glory talked about positive growth mindset as the students begin the iReady diagnostic and Smarter Balance. So the students and teachers got to talk a little bit more about what to do when things get tough and how to dig in and so forth. And those conversations continue today in the classrooms as we kick off Smarter Balance. That was awesome. We have kindergarten orientation coming up this Thursday, so we'll be welcoming probably close to 30 to 50 new families coming in to visit our school and talk about kindergarten. We have 55 families coming up from our preschool and about 15 new registrations already. So nice big class starting tomorrow. Yeah. So it's exciting. And you heard about our science night for preschool. So that was the first time that we had a science night where we're able to partner with the Connecticut Science Center and offer that fun and engaging night too. So a lot of great things happening in Florida. Thanks.
Yeah, I was sitting back there thinking, I don't think I've talked to you guys since February. so I really want to make up for that. Okay. I do want to, if you remember last year, I brought a book. We had some students published again from the creative writing class. Their task this year was to write a story in just 100 words that shows us the other side to the traditional storybook villain. So we have, I think it's about 8 students that are published in here, just 100 words. So I'll pass it around so you guys can take a look. And I distinctly remember this. Last year when I did this, I forgot the book, and Mr. Gonzalez was kind enough to return it to me because I think that's our only copy, and Ms. Aaron would be very upset. We're finishing up our AP exams. We got 60 students taking 94 tests this year. Some of the things you might, I put the packet on your, next to where you guys are all sitting. But I know one of the things I really wanted to talk about, Amanda Mansfield and Sabina Escott put together that student assembly, the Emotion into Art. It was absolutely incredible. I couldn't stop talking about it for days afterwards. And we put some pictures in the packet at the end. The guy was absolutely amazing. And, his first painting, I'm sitting there trying to figure out, I know he paints famous people, and you're trying to figure out, what is he painting? And then he takes the painting off his stand there, and then he flips it, and then you're like, oh my God, he painted it upside down, and it was amazing. But I'd love to do that again, and we did it through a grant. So we were very thankful that we had the grant, and we had Ms. Escott and Ms. Mansfield who found that for us.
Sorry to interrupt you, Jay, but you also got a whole middle school to come up and
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
That's-
We fit them all in there.
That is,
Yeah.
right up.
And, you know, it really did. And the, it was so cool. You know, I would come out and, you know, the students were all like just enthralled by what they saw. You know, kids clapping once the painting came over. They're like, oh my goodness, you know, that's who that is. So I mean, it was amazing. You know, we're doing a lot of field trips now, and we're getting more and more as we go, you know, towards the end of the year. Shane Morse, math teacher, who also does programming, request. We haven't done that. Things like that. But the cool thing that he said, there was only one other school from this side of the Connecticut River that was represented with the Health Glastonbury High School. So it was us in Glastonbury representing this part of Connecticut. It's a lot of that was really interesting. We had a faculty meeting today, and our art teacher was talking about 14 students submitted AP art portfolios, which is the most we've ever had. And those are, those are big displays in the Mayfest. So if you get a chance, please come out. Tuesday from 6 to 8 in the evening is kind of our Mayfest open house for the public. We will advertise that to all of the towns that send to us as well. Students to come down and see what an excellent artwork. And then our contemporary ensemble I heard them warming up today. What was it? Twisted, I think they were doing Twisted Sister. Like, we're not going to take it. It sounded pretty good. I was pretty psyched about that. There's a whole list of activities that are going. You can see that on here, and it's also part of your board packet. You know, our sports team. Talking with Coach Gomez. They had a big game today. They won. For right now. Baseball, softball is killing it right now. I think they're like 12-3. Girls tennis is doing outstanding. I don't know if am I stepping on what she said? She did not. Girls tennis is doing great. Our boys tennis team, they're competing hard. Track team, I was just at a meet yesterday, and you should see all of the personal records that those kids set yesterday. And I think it has something to do with the fact that it's actually above 55 degrees, and it was like warm. So and that brought out the best times and the best throws and everybody. So please do this. I'm sorry it took so long, but like I said, I got to make up for 2 months away from the kids.
Thank you very much. We'll start with our COVID health update, which I believe, fingers crossed, will be the last one. So the public health emergency ends on the 11th of this month, just a few days away. We are still reporting cases to the Department of Public Health, as well as sending district-wide notifications. We'll continue that through this year, but then we're hoping that will go away as well. We'll continue to use the mitigation measures and are prepared to return to more restrictive measures if need be. I am eagerly awaiting news from the State Department of Education following this declaration to see what we need to do in terms of potentially revising and submitting the continuity of service plan. I know that prior to my arrival, there was a team of dedicated teachers and staff members who worked very hard to put together a reopening plan. That plan has morphed into our continuity plan over the past 2 years. I have not received guidance yet if we will need to do that again. But for the time being, we will remove this standing item from the Board of Ed agenda. Moving into the 23-24 budget, obviously we got great news in this past at town meeting. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to the Board of Finance and thanks to the community. It definitely was a collaborative process to develop what is a very fiscally responsible budget, but also to get something passed that is extremely supportive. You know, I put forward the 4.61 to you all. You approved that. The Board of Finance put forward the 4.32, and that's ultimately what got approved. While not fully funded, as I said, you know, I felt very supported in the process and feel very positive about what we'll be able to do with that funding for next year. Along those lines, now that it's passed, the building administrators have been working very hard to make sure that positions are posted, that interviews are being conducted, and I've even had some candidates come to me and sign contracts for next school year to fill some much needed positions. We are still moving forward to replace or do our best to try to replace staff members who are retiring and those resigned or positions that were open that just couldn't get filled during the course of the year. But having the budget process complete at this point, it really positions us well to be able to start the new fiscal year on July 1 with some really good momentum and to start the school year with all those positions filled. So thank you for everybody's work on that. I know that Lexi and Mr. Apicelli and Mr. Scorso spent time talking about the end-of-year events. You do have a list from all of the buildings in your packet. I did highlight a few. I know that Jay talked about Mayfest. It is a special opportunity to display student work across the district. If you can make it, that would be great. I do want to highlight this Get Outside and Play for Children's Mental Health Day on the 26th. That is a half day, and we do have a PD after that. Rita has worked with the PLEC committee to make a nice connection so that we can do some things to take care of our staff mental health. When that menu comes out, I'll make sure to share it with you in one of my updates. And then the PTA is actually piggybacking on that, and they're also doing an outdoor family game night that evening. So the 26th should be a pretty cool set of events across the district for our learners and for our adult learners as well. LMS, something that is a highlight that I really enjoy going to see our students is at the Job Shadow Expo when they're talking about their experiences and what they have been able to do to see potential future employment opportunities for themselves. Really an impressive day if you can make that. The spring band and chorus on the 19th, as well as the art show. And then as mentioned a little bit, and Lexi hinted at, already getting your mind looking forward to June. We have LES 4th grade moving up on the 12th. Ceremonies from 6 to 7. LMS is on the 9th of June, and graduation for the high school is the 13th. So you're invited to all of these events. If you want to just shoot me an email, let me know if you might be attending. I can make sure that we'll be on the lookout for you and make you feel welcome and enjoy those events. Any questions about any topics within my portion of the meeting?
something, you know? But I thought the winter would be winding down, but it was cold, I think, in the mornings. And so we're at about, you guys are looking at financials right now that say 71,000. With that delivery, it's at about 87,000. We still have May. Not huge deliveries in May, but, so I'm working on those projections right now for year end to really get an idea of where we're gonna be at with those large ticket items. Fuel for transportation will likely follow suit, not as high as a dollar amount. An overage of about 17,000, I'm thinking. Close out the year and then transportation. An update that came in last Friday from the state. We have our excess cost reimbursement, and so the first payment that we received, you'll see in our financial, was 200,000. We had budgeted about 225. The state has, I don't know if anybody's aware, but they're looking to change the calculation for how big reimbursement service for these excess costs for those students. And they did the first payment. And now the second payment is based on the second calculation along with your student changes. So we have to report in December any students that are on. Actually owe the state for so that changes the projections as well, because as you see here, we were expecting another 25,000, but now we will not expect 25,000 in that position. But those are all bad things. Does anybody have any questions? Salaries are in line for the end of the year, you know, with staffing changes and everything, and insurance and other large. I do still, you know, project some sort of surplus, but it's changing. So I would do my best to do it. Right, so I want to say a lot of it is the beginning of the, I'm sure the beginning of the year. I'm not sure how much Andy's been utilizing them, but for example, last fiscal year, I remember that budget was at 95,000. So we used it quite with the COVID, you know, with COVID and all the other issues. So we just budgeted less this year, so we budgeted actually more. We were at 40,000 last year, so we put another 25 on it. Because we knew we were going to be.
We knew it was going to go up, right? It's hard to budget for too, because it's all based on usage.
Yeah, I think historically, like even prior to my arrival, this has been an area that's probably been under budgeted. When we've looked at what the actuals have been, it's always been over. So we were mindful of that when adjusting to move it up. And the thought of going into negotiations, we couldn't guarantee where we might go. And while we did a lot through negotiations to not use legal counsel, just because they physically weren't here, they still had to participate in some of the behind the scenes, you know, wrapping up contracts, etc. We've utilized CABE a lot to do policy services, but we still do utilize Shipman for things in which CABE cannot provide, specifically advice with personnel matters or other things that are outside the realm of policy. So trying to be very mindful of how we utilize it and also utilizing CABE to its fullest capabilities, but there's a threshold in which CABE can't help and we do have to contact Shipman. For sure. And if you go back, 2-3 years ago now, COVID really impacted that. There was a year where maybe we didn't have to reach out too much because interactions with students and staff were different and limited, but then they also had to help review reopening plans and things of that nature, so it really has been a difficult one historically to budget for, but I would anticipate moving forward that 65,000 figure is a more realistic target to use.
Super interesting as well as number when those two overages are so significantly high. Yeah, so, you must be seeing so much savings in other areas.
Yeah, so that's what's happening is if you look at, at the bottom of the 600s, there's supplies remaining like 112,000, so that's offsetting, overages. And if you look at just the bottom of these groupings, there's positive balances, right, that are offsetting those, the ones that are negative. So the net amount is still healthy, and so we're watching it very closely as we close out the school year.
Any questions on that?
If we move into capital, we have the trial balance for asbestos, technology, and athletics. You'll see that we have some activity there from Barton and Langley's who did our asbestos bid, right? And we paid for the scoreboard, which is awesome. We're waiting for an invoice for installation. No huge activity in athletics, except for scoreboard. And no activity in technology. The remaining balance is $712. Moving on to SIP. No monetary changes, but we did mark the seating project and the paving mark complete. And then we have our non-lapsing tracking list with a lot of updates about payments that have been processed on those emergency approvals. I won't list them line by line, but if anybody has any questions. I also added a line item, just a total at the bottom, almost like a subtotal. So at the bottom, there's $281,000, which is our current standing balance at the end of April, but we'll have to look at what we projected to spend, right? So, assuming all of those projects at the end of it, when the dust settles, we'll have $113,000.
my recommendation would be to wait until the start of the new fiscal year so that we can know what we potentially might be returning, and we can have a better idea of what we might be starting with too.
Motion to add action item 14, and they are to act on utilizing non-lapsing funds for additional supports for our special education students.
Let's have some discussion on that. I believe that we had a specific dollar amount for...
We're just doing a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, sorry. We're just amending the agenda.
To add the motion, to add the action item. We can discuss that.
Any discussion on it? Amending the agenda to add the action. All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Sorry about that. Let's go back into action item number 1.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the resignation with regret.
Second. Motion by John, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion? Favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Action items. I'll leave it up to you, Maureen.
Two through 5, delete those unnecessary policies.
Second?
Motion by Maureen, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion?
Sorry, you said 2 through 5, delete? 6 through 6, 7, and,
We're on page,
sorry.
you're on the wrong page.
Sorry.
Action items 2 through 5 have been motioned to be deleted by Maureen, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously.
I make a motion that we pass this new policy on cybersecurity.
Second. Motion by Maureen, seconded by Danelle. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. That passes unanimously. Item number 7.
Motion to accept the bid for Powers Outdoor Services in the amount of $63,792 for the turf and landscape contract.
I'll second that.
Motion by Nicole, seconded by Maureen. Any discussion? Do you want to give us a little background, Nicole, on how many bids maybe? And
Yep, so we had 7 bids that came in. All of them were around the same amount, the 60,000 area, and up to the highest was 76,000. Powers Outdoor Services, we like him because he comes out on, first of all, he's local, he's in town, so he's very close, and he comes out on Sundays usually to maintain the schools, so he's pretty much available all the time. And we were pretty satisfied with the job that he's done up until now. So and he was the lowest, actually he was one of the lowest at 63,000. So we decided to award the contract to him.
any questions? Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the contract with Powers Outdoor Services for the turf landscape bid, please raise your hand. That passes unanimously. Action item number 8.
Copiers and printers. So there were...
Oh, you want to make a motion first, Brian?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
No. I'd like to make a motion that we award the copier printer to Prism in the amount of $2,922. That's the lease plus maintenance cost.
I'll second. Oh,
Motion by Brian, seconded by Maureen. Okay, can you give us a little background, Brian?
Now I can. So there were 9 bids received. Prism was the second to lowest. The actual lowest bid, the subcommittee felt that because of the brand of the printers and copiers, it may not have been the most reliable. And going with Prism, their Toshiba copier, which
4 of them had recommended Toshiba, so it was in line with everyone else's bid.
Yep, and it was only, well, it was less than $300 more per year for that contract. So the subcommittee went with Prism.
Okay, any questions?
That will be replacing both leases, so.
Yes, thank you, John. That was the other important thing. We've got 2 vendors now, all will be on the same lease.
That'll be a savings too.
Yep.
Okay, what was it, 19,500?
Yeah.
Something, possible savings?
Yeah, it was just shy of almost $20,000 that we're saving.
Right.
Yeah, having them both on one lease, they're able to offer cheaper.
Much better, much more
per
competitive.
page maintenance cost because it's just one company and we're guaranteeing them. So
Right.
that we're not really guaranteeing, but they know how many copies per month we'll be doing. So they can offer a lower price instead of having 2 in here doing half and half.
So it was significant.
All those in favor of approving Prism as the district copier and printer contract? Please raise your hand. That passes unanimously. Action item number 9, act on the bid for preventative maintenance program for the district's HVAC equipment.
Okay, motion to approve award MCOR for the preventive maintenance program for all 3 schools. That will be an amount of $22,104 per year.
Second.
Motion by Nicole, seconded by Alexis. Nicole.
Yep, just a little background. So we had 6 companies bid on this, and their amounts were all over the place. MCOR was the cheapest at $22,000, and the highest was $121,000. But we went with MCOR because they're very familiar with all 3 of our buildings. They're pretty handy. They're very available when we call them, and they do a good job.
Any questions? Go ahead, Danelle.
is there something we're missing with the first bid being 120?
Something they're missing.
They're missing, yeah.
Yeah, all the other bids are kind of a little bit the same.
They're hoping to win it.
Any further discussion, questions? All those in favor of approving MCOR as the HVAC preventative maintenance contract, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Action item number 10, act on the bid for full-service maintenance program.
Okay, and this also, so...
Nicole, make a motion.
Yep, I'm making a motion. Motion to award the bid for the full-service maintenance program, which is on the boilers, to MCOR again, in the amount of $17,496 per year.
I'll second that.
Motion by Nicole, seconded by Maureen.
So 3 companies came out to bid. MCOR was again the lowest at $17,000. The highest was $42,000. But again, we went with MCOR because they're very familiar with our boilers. They're very efficient and available.
Any questions? Any discussion? All those in favor of approving MCOR as the full-service maintenance, oh no, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, you're right.
full-service maintenance contract. Please raise your hands. That passes unanimously. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to add, I wanted to thank Val, Kevin, and Jacques for their leadership with getting these bids in. You know, I think we had a nice return in terms of interest, and we had more at our fingertips in terms of who we wanted to go with. I know it panned out that we went with many of our familiar contractors, but I think we made it a more competitive process, and I feel really good about where we stand, so thank you to them.
Yes, thank you. Okay, action item number 11, I believe we are not going to be taking action on that this evening because we do not have all of the bids for the asbestos abatement. I think we will be taking a look at them on Friday, opening the bids, and then we will come back on the 16th for our facilities meeting, correct?
Yes.
Correct. Okay. All right, action item number 12 is to act on the June Board of Ed special meeting date. We did need to move this date because the next scheduled meeting is actually graduation. So we do have a proposal, or I do, have a proposal for June 8th, which is Thursday. How does that work for the board?
I mean, if I'm the only one that's the problem, then just hold it.
Okay. This side of the table okay?
Probably.
Probably, okay. All right, we're gonna do it, because it looks like the majority of us can make it. And hopefully Bruce can make it, even though he's away this month. Okay, so, oh, the time, okay, so we're gonna have to make it
5:30.
5:30?
4 o'clock?
Can't do that.
Would 5:30 work? Yes? Okay, we'll say 5:30, June 8th at 5:30. If someone would make a motion.
I'll make a motion that our June Board of Ed special meeting be on June 8th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. here in the Lyman Memorial Library.
Motion by Brian, seconded by Janelle. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that also passes unanimously. Action item number 13 is to act on the CAPE membership renewal. In your packet, you should have seen a proposal that was sent to us. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add while you're taking a peek at that, so I did speak with Val. It is very difficult to do an exact analysis of potential savings through CABE. Shipman and Goodwin submits their invoices kind of by date of service, not by service, so it's not like we could pull up just the policy support that they've given over the years and compare it to CABE. So CABE has been really good about giving policy updates on a regular basis, as you see in your weekly updates. I try to give you that. They've been also great about giving sample or suggested policies. They've been available through email and phone call. They also provide limited legal advice. So while the number within our operating budget is above what we budgeted for legal, I don't think it's at all correlation to what CABE is not doing. I feel like CABE has been a good resource, and I believe that if we didn't have them, legal would probably be higher because of the interaction I would need to have with policy and some of the limited legal advice that they gave me. I would have had to go to Shipman and Goodwin. That's just my position on CABE.
Go ahead, Brian.
So Andy, you feel that the 5661 is of value to us?
Yes.
Is there a motion on the floor? Alexis?
Motion to approve the CAPE membership for the 23-24 year of $56.61.
Second.
Motion by Alexis, seconded by Nicole. Any further discussion?
I would just like to point out, if the policy chair would stop having meetings, we wouldn't have to use anybody for policy suggestions.
And that's another good point, though, Maureen, to think about the legal fees as well. We are still in the process of going through those old policies and really filtering through. And there are some that many that we get from CAVE, but there are some that we have to go to Shipman to finalize. So we're still doing work, you know, and there's still work to be done, but we're making our way to where we need to be.
It's nice having something else to look at on the policy side, you know, that we may not have thought of because of, you know, they're preparing them for larger districts or something else, so.
Just as a note, I know we're not in a policy meeting, but a future of thought. Shipman has said they don't recommend boards adopt policies that's not either required or recommended. And I think in the past, we may have in Lebanon developed or had our own ideas for what policies we should or shouldn't have, and that's where we're kind of weeding through and able to delete some of these because Shipman is reviewing them and saying, you never needed them in the first place. So just a thought.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of,
One thing, you said something positive before, I'm going to say a little negative thing. Maureen and I went to a conference or a seminar.
Workshop, yeah.
My disappointment was that we still pay like $70 to go, even though we had membership with it. So it's not like all these services are free. We had a discount because we were CAVE members. We could have gone anywhere without CAVE, but it still was, I thought, a lot of money to go.
But is that any different than like other national or other organizations? Like I pay into my certification organization and when I go to their trainings, I still have to pay?
Yeah, I think my point is just that just because we're a member of CAVE doesn't mean we have free access to all.
To everything,
Yeah, we still have to pay to go to it. It was cheaper, I think, by far.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of approving the CAVE membership, please raise your hand. That passes unanimously. All right, action item number 14, act on an additional, or approving an additional $1,140 from non-lapsing for special education equipment.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Alexis, seconded by John. Did you get that, Hannah?
Yes, thank you.
Any discussion?
Just as an update for the board, so the quote didn't change, the need changed. So after, looking at what this particular learner needs, the chair needs more specialized support for head control in severe spasticity. So that's the addition.
All those in favor of approving an additional $1,140 from non-lapsing, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Thanks very much. Next item on the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion that we enter the executive session for the purpose of discussing the superintendent's evaluation and superintendent's contract.
Second.
Motion by John, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Go to executive session at 8:31.